these broken seams, floating through the puzzles and the endless screens. Well, I've got something for you, and it's cutting deep. Now the music's over. Will you come with me? Tell me you can feel it, though we're oceans apart. I've got a love for you. I've got a love for you. And I know there's magic spots inside who we are. I've got a love for you. I've got a love for you.
Not much. What's up with you?
We left this town with the speakers loud and the radio, playing old Sublime that we stole online, every verse we know. And we hadn't had a clue if we'd make it by noon or even where we'd go. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. We don't need a map, everywhere. The tank said E and we all agree that we're just too broke to fill it back up, so we left your truck on the road with Ro. Then we found a motel with a cigarette smell, so we knew we're close. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. Is where I can find some peace of mind and make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. But don't get left behind on the road. Don't get left behind on the road. Don't get left behind on the road. We played Tupac, Chirac, and we turn our music up when he raps about hope. We hold our thumbs high and hope someone is kind enough to give us all a ride. And we wouldn't have a clue if we'd make it back to or even where we'd go. We don't need a map, everywhere is home. A Ford stopped on the street, where you trying to be? We said we don't really care, we'll know it when we're there. We took on down the road, he flipped on his radio. Santeria started slow, so we knew that we were close. Home is where I can find some peace of mind and make my own way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. 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 Home is where I can find some peace of mind and make my way. I don't know where I will end up, but I'll find it someday. Keep on searching, engine burning while we're turning it around. But don't get left behind on the road. Say you need a hero, someone to set you free. Say you need a hero, but don't put your faith in me. Don't put your faith in me. No. We all get lost sometimes, we all fall sometimes. The darkness in our hearts makes us shine like little stars. We are heroes. We are heroes. Heroes. We are heroes. We are heroes. See you walking through dark lands, searching for a strong hand. Take the reins and don't let go, but don't put your faith in me. 'Cause I'm no hero, at least not tonight. 'Cause we all get scared sometimes, we all fall sometimes. The darkness in our hearts makes us shine like little stars. We all get lost sometimes, we all fall sometimes. The darkness in our hearts makes us shine like little stars. We are heroes. We are heroes. Heroes. We are heroes. We are heroes. Heroes. We are heroes. Heroes. Say you hate the darkness, 'cause it's a lonely place. We all need the darkness, 'cause that's what makes us heroes. What makes us heroes every day. We are heroes. Heroes. We are heroes.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Down in the Valley. My name is Edson Ochoa. Accompanying me like every week is my good old friend and co-host Jacob Young. Jacob, how are you doing, man?
Doing well. Looking forward to this Friday. The season actually gets started this Friday, and I couldn't be any more thrilled than I am. I'm really ready to get this season started and to see what the Toros have to bring for the regular season.
We thought it was never going to come, but it's finally coming tomorrow. So thank you all, everybody who's watching right now. Be sure to leave a like on the video. Be sure to share it with your family and your friends, as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Be sure to also follow our friends at the Beautiful Game Network on Twitter at the BGNFM. They are pretty much helping us in making sure our podcasts are available in all of the podcasting platforms. And while you're there, listen to our podcast. If you manage to miss something in this show, be sure to check out the podcast. Go to Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. Listen to us, stream it. Be sure to leave a good review, like it, share it, and because all of that really, really, really helps us. Be sure to also check out their website, the bgn.fm, and check out their main sponsor, which is Roughneck Scarves. They're the official scarf supplier of USL, MLS, and NCAA. Wow, that's a mouthful. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce our special guest for tonight. He is the original member of Down in the Valley, the one you read every Wednesday on the Bull and Its Horns, and the man that is solely responsible of making us feel more connected to our Toros players. He is the one, the only, the legend, Carson A. Merk. Carson, how you doing, man?
Man, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to disappoint after hearing that intro. I'm just a simple man. I'm just a working class hero.
Nah, man. Like you laid the groundwork for all of this, man, and like we're really. I can never stress this enough. We're really appreciative of everything that you do. You did with the Down in the Valley back in the Peel days, and all you keep on doing with the articles that you write every week. I mean, it's a difficult thing to kind of stay in that rhythm, and you do it very, very well. Because I mean, you not only talk about the Toros, you also got all these other projects that you work on as well.
Yeah, man, I stay busy, that's for sure.
Definitely. Well, so, we all we have to. If not, life can be so boring. So, what's go ahead and say hi to everybody, Carson.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
So besides. Tell them a little bit more about yourself. What do you do? What is your impact in the U.S. soccer world?
Man, it's funny to even hear that mentioned. I feel like Emperor Palpatine or something. But to kind of do the rundown, obviously, the Bull and Its Horns every Wednesday at dynamotheory.com. Then I do the other football podcast, which is also on Beautiful Game Network. Going into Beautiful Game Network, I also do edit all the written content at uslnews.com, which is just the Beautiful Game Network's written side of things. Shout out to Rey Silva covering the Toros on that side of things. Mm-hmm. But other than that, cover Newcastle United and obviously the light tier. So I have a lot of soccer in my life. And that's a good life in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely. I've listened to like a couple of the other football podcasts, and not only do you guys talk about soccer really, really well here and abroad, but also like the interesting topics that you all bring out. I remember specifically this one, the one where I think one of your other co-hosts went over to Europe, and he was talking about that they sold bacon in the concession stands.
Yeah, he was actually in Sweden. Yeah, and bacon is just like, it was just another movie snack, which was crazy. But yeah, we definitely, I always say it's soccer centric, but it usually ends up as far away from soccer as possible. Like the French fry rankings a few weeks ago, and yeah, so it's soccer adjacent, we'll say.
Well, it keeps things a lot of fun, and it's really interesting. I'll actually going to go back and check out that episode because I find that topic intriguing and see which fries you all thought were the best. But anyways, so let's go ahead and continue with this. Carson, like you mentioned, you cover the Toros. You cover other teams in the USL. You're pretty much attentive. During this off season, at the end of last season, USL announced their rebranding within their 3 tiers, which was USL Championship, USL League One, and USL League Two. As a lot of people that are listening right now, why it sounds familiar? Yeah, it's pretty much a copy of the FA, with Championship, League One, League Two being D2, D3, and D4 over there in England. So, Carson, what are your thoughts on this rebranding? Did you like it, or do you think it's just like a gimmick?
Yeah, initially I was a little unsure about it. Kind of like you said, even that I cover Newcastle United, so I'm always hearing about the English levels of soccer. So, like you said, it was a little bit of a retread for me. But I don't hate that they rebranded. I like that it's kind of a system now. You know, obviously there's a ranking. So you have the Championship, you have League One, you have League Two. But I think it just makes it a little more clear rather than like USL, PDL. What were you going to call the new league when it came in? So I like that it kind of streamlines things a little bit. And as far as cosmetically, I like the color scheme. I like the new logo. It's pretty sleek to me. And then I also like that they have started to, obviously USL Championships always get the most attention, but the League One is starting to kind of pick up a little bit. The teams are all very engaged with social media. League One Fun on BTN is doing great, getting a lot of engagement with the league, with the team. So it's fun, and you're going to see guys that, you know, in that League One that are people that you've seen in the USL Championship or you followed in college, and they end up playing for a local team. So initially I was a little skeptical of just completely copying the English system, but I guess that annoyance with that has wore off pretty quickly.
So what do you think was the reason for them to kind of copy the English system? Do you think that this was trying to get something that is well known to attract other soccer fans that are not necessarily fans of U.S. Soccer in any of their divisions?
Yeah, potentially. Familiarity is definitely something that I think in marketing in general is something you're always looking for. So if, you know, random guy over in England somehow stumbles across, you know how soccer goes. Like, you'll look up highlights for something, and then you end up in like the, you know, German 17th division. You're like, I don't even know how I got here. So I don't know. Somebody over there somehow ends up in a USL League One thing. They'll at least understand the tiers just because they're familiar with it. So yeah, I guess the familiarity of it was probably well thought out. The USL has done pretty good as far as marketing, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think they did their due diligence.
Jacob?
Yeah, well, of course, now moving on to basically more Toro talk. Well, of course, the Toros did lose some players this offseason, but not as many as, of course, previous seasons. So what players do you think the Toros will miss this year on the pitch?
Yeah, I was going to say, first off the pitch, I think they won't miss Anwar. That's that guy. He bailed on us to Cincinnati. But I told him I was going to talk trash about him. This was planned. But as far as somebody, I think obviously Todd Wharton would be the first thought, just because he was the captain. The position he was in was such a just central, you know, always on the ball, always leading and passing. So I would say probably him and Perea both. Outside of that, maybe Kai Green and Manny Padilla would be the other two for me, just because they don't have a lot of depth, it looks like, on the outside back. But yeah, like you said, not as wholesale of departures as we've seen before, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I know Coach Echeverri has talked about during the preseason, you know, how important it has been for this team to have retained a lot of these players within the team that have experience, even if it is for 1 year, in the professional level. And he thinks that's going to be one of the best things that'll help this team hopefully get a playoff spot in the season. But I definitely agree that it's one of the best things, you know, to see that players are coming back, and we're not doing a complete rebuild of the roster from 1 year to the other. Or heck, I mean, like you mentioned in your article, Gerson Echeverri is back for a second year. He's the first coach to ever come back for a second year for the Toros.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gerson Echeverri is the right man for this process. He's established a process. We have seen improvements defensive-wise, even if last week wasn't really a kind of good indicator of an improvement on defense, but we'll talk about that later. But in general, I've seen, you see improvements on the defense and as well as the attack. So, like Gerson mentioned in 2017 when he came on aboard, that defense in 2017, was Swiss cheese, holes everywhere, and it was one of the worst defenses. We kind of got a glimpse of an improvement last season. Maybe we lost a couple of points to not maintaining the concentration for the full 90 minutes. But there's steady improvement, and I think Gerson Echeverri just needs time to continue to instill his tactics and his mentality over to the players. So it was a good call to keep him. But going on to the next question, Carson, what of all the new players that have come into this team, which one are you most looking forward to see in 2019?
I don't even think this one's close. Malik Foster, for me, by a long shot. I think I saw him a little bit in Arizona when I went out to see the Dynamo, and then every person I talked to, from players, fans, just random people watching highlights, everyone's like, "Hey, this guy he's a bona fide star." So I'm definitely looking forward most to seeing him, and then I think combining him and Chewy, I think is going to be pretty good, because at some point Chewy was the main guy that you had to stop last year. Obviously Carlos Small as well, but so now you have a guy opposite Chewy who's going to attract that attention as well. So yeah, Malik Foster, I don't think that'd be close. Other than that, maybe I'm not sure exactly who another one might be. I'll go with Foster and maybe Brad Dunwell for another one.
Yeah, I mean, you look at these new players, and just with the trajectory, right off the bat, like you say, Malik Foster coming in from Alajuelense, and having that experience in a first division team over there, it attracts pretty much the eyes of everybody. But from what I've seen in this preseason, I think Brad Dunwell is going to be a really good replacement for Nico Perea / Todd Warden. What do you think, Jacob?
Well, yeah, I think you're pretty much onto something. It's a perfect replacement. It's a young kid, obviously, so it fits well into this whole, I guess, into Gerson's philosophy, into the Houston Dynamo philosophy too. You start them young, basically, and you build them up even more. And I mean, Gerson talked about it a bit on Tuesday at the jersey reveal. Thankfully, RGVFC had one, which is awesome. But he did talk a little bit about that and said this team is super young, and of course that it's not mainly the philosophy of other teams, but it can kill in the long run.
All right, Jacob, next.
Okay, and so of course, well, we got to get your opinion. How do you think the Toros will do this season?
I think the playoffs are somewhat realistic for me. I don't think they're going to be one of these teams that, was well out of the playoffs last year, then finishes third in the West or something like that. But I think combine the defensive stability with bringing back, obviously, bringing back some of the key players, I think maybe the bottom of the playoff run potentially, but I think they're going to be much improved. I think you have now some guys that play together for a year in the attack. I think that they're going to be able to turn, because obviously last year was all about the draw. I don't know how many they had. They were the most in USL, but maybe here and there that turns a draw into a win.
Mm-hmm.
So had Malik Foster say he scores you, I don't know, 15 goals, turn 10 of the draws into wins. That's obviously going on high end, but no, I think that playoffs should be a realistic goal. If anything, I would just like to see consistent improvement, because I think that's what you saw last year compared to 2017.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I too believe that they are a team that is going to be contending for playoffs, and like you say, I think they'll be pretty much the in the lower ends of the top 8. But I think this year they'll make it. So hopefully our predictions really come true, because I think the fans need something like that to continue to hype up this team down there in the Rio Grande Valley, because it's always that same excuse. The same thing happens with the Dynamo. I know Jacob would agree with that. They're like, well, they're not a winning team, so I'm not going to support them, kind of thing. And if they can make it to playoffs this season and continue to build off on that and kind of inch closer to making the final in 3-4 years, then yeah, we'll probably be looking at consistent near sellouts at HEB Park. But other than that, if the results don't come, people are going to get desperate, and they're going to lose their patience on this team. So Harry says hi, Carson. Harry Austin, our friend from San Antonio. Yeah, he's your number one fan, man. He also says, I think between 5 and 8, top 4 will be Phoenix, SAFC, OKC, and OCAC. Then Reno, RGV, Austin, and New Mexico.
Not a bad call from Harry.
You agree with that, Jacob?
Well, not necessarily, at least for the Austin. I really don't see them making it to the playoffs due to the fact that they just have a lot of, older players. And we saw that kind of with Las Vegas last year, kind of the burnout that we saw, where it was just a slower paced team. And that's why RGVFC was able to get, if I'm not mistaken, a victory and even a draw from Las Vegas last season. So I think I see Austin not making the playoffs, but because I'm a guy that thinks, like Jerson does, young players will be able to push your team forward. Yes, maybe a couple of veterans, but not a veteran that's out of already the Argentine league or something like that, that's already basically on his way out of the door. Those players you don't necessarily need, but maybe they'll prove me wrong. Now, I do agree with top 4 being Phoenix. Maybe not SAFC, due to the fact that they steal a lot of players that will probably not make it to the MLS, aka what Sean says, which I do actually agree now with that. And, of course, then, yeah, OKC, OCSC, I do agree with the rest of his, but Austin, that they're gonna have to prove something to me.
I think my dark horse in this race would be I don't know why, but I have a feeling that El Paso might be a dark horse that everybody's going to underestimate. From what I was told, that in the match between the preseason match between El Paso Locomotive and San Antonio FC, mind you, at San Antonio FC with fans present, they were able to keep them in the 3 periods a 0-0 draw. So you're talking about a team that has been hyped offensively and coming into this season. So I would not be surprised if El Paso surprises everybody and is able to squeak into the playoffs, maybe 8th, and I will see New Mexico in 7th. But Carson, now that the topic has been brought up with that, what are your top picks for this for playoffs?
I I will probably agree with the top four that Harry threw out there as far as Phoenix, San Antonio, OKC, and Orange County. I would say one that I'm feeling more confident about as it goes along is New Mexico. I think they've made some pretty savvy pickups, obviously adding Cynthia just today or yesterday, whenever that was. But I think Vegas is going to be in the mix. I've obviously seen this preseason more than any other team, but yeah, I think Vegas is going to be in the mix. Colorado Springs is also a team that's always decent. They never have like these horrible seasons or like really, really good seasons. They're usually pretty solid. So it's going to be interesting. I think, like we said, I think those four teams at the top are pretty comfortably going to be set there. But after that, it's going to be a battle for sure to get those last four.
All right. Jacob, next question.
Yeah, so, of course, so we, RGVFC got their new kits. I don't know if you've seen them yet, but if you have, what do you think about them?
I'm not gonna lie to you. My first thought, I love some damn Nature Valley granola bar. I will knock out a box of oats and honey without question any day of the week. But they're pretty basic to me. I don't know. I haven't really been surfing Twitter to see what the fan reaction has been, but I don't know. They're not horrible. Like the first year, I'm pretty sure they were just dry fit T-shirts with a logo and a name on the back. But I don't know. They're not horrendous, but they're not anything that I'm overly excited about. What do you guys think?
Jacob, what do you think?
Well, I mean, for me, I don't think you can see it in the picture, but for the black, I did notice that they do have like dark lines across it, which that does make it a bit different than obviously the home. Now, I do love the home kits because obviously it reminds me a lot of, well, Houston Dynamos, obviously, from 14 or something of that sort, obviously without the collar, which the collar ones will still shine the best kits for Houston Dynamo. But I do like them. Yes, they are super basic, but at the same time, when you get Adidas in the mix, they always are able to make really nice jerseys. And I mean, I just like it because it looks crisp and it's never bad to go basic.
I was gonna say, for me, I would prefer a basic jersey, like you said, that looks crisp, rather than you try to do too much in it and it looks bad. So, no, I think that was a good shout by you. I think crisp and basic is better than creative and bad.
You know what's funny about that is that you never keep fans happy. There's always the ones that come up with a basic kit. They want something more flashy. Something flashy gets brought up, and they're like, "No, this design is ugly. Like, why can't it be a lot more simple and elegant?" I mean, you can never win. I honestly believe that something simple is pretty good, but I wish they could have at least a couple of elements, small little details that make it RGVFC. I don't know, maybe you put a bull in behind the collar, or like the Dynamo has, something in the lower left side of the shirt, that kind of gives it that this is not just a template kit. This is an RGVFC kit. Obviously, that's gonna cost a whole lot more money than something just out of the catalog, But you see kits like, for example, with Phoenix, obviously a lot more money being used and brought in by Phoenix Rising. But you look at those Macron kits, those new kits, and the detail of having I think the state of Arizona, it's kind of detailed on the shirt, just slightly, and it just screams elegance. But I personally, off this shirt, I like it for what it is. I just hate the Nature Valley logo. I don't get me wrong, I love their products, but I hate the Nature Valley logo because I think the colors kind of clash with the orange. Their colors, the green and yellow, is not very designer friendly.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I feel like maybe if it was kind of color coordinated, like maybe let's say kind of have the Nature Valley outline and the letters be in white and then like a clear background, I think it'd look better. But when you look at it that way with the original logo, it kind of clashes. And I know I've seen a lot of comments on social media that definitely agree about that. But I'm still gonna buy it. So Jacob, just quick question about the kits. Are the Nature Valley and the Lone Star National Bank logo, are they patched like patches like last season's, or is it just like, for example, a sticker on it?
Well, I believe they'd keep it the same, just like last season. They didn't really go into detail. They just really showed it kind of broadly because they were really excited to bring out General Mills, basically Nature Valley, on it. And so, of course, they showed the national ad of Nature Valley, which was cool. I'm not going to lie, it's still great. And then, of course, Lone Star National Bank spoke about them being on the kit, so they didn't really go into detail that much about it. So if I had to guess, it's a lot like last year, and it's not just a sticker, it's a patch. It's a patch.
Yeah, because I honestly, like, when you actually wear it to play soccer, like I know this one, this goalie jersey, I've used it whenever I've played 7-on-7, and it kind of gets really uncomfortable in the area where the Lone Star National Bank sponsorship is, because it kind of blocks the air circulation that keeps you cool. But I mean, just a minor gripe about that. It is interesting because I don't remember seeing other teams use that kind of material for their sponsorship kits. I mean, I don't know if you've seen somebody else use something similar, Carson.
No, I think they're usually kind of screen prints on there. I know what you're talking about. Sometimes even like a Premier League patch on a jersey kind of feel the tightness a little bit. So, yeah, hopefully the delicious, Nature Valley Bar sponsorship does not impede any player performance at all.
You know what's funny, Jacob? Now, and I posted it on social media, and Carson, I don't know if you saw that, but kudos to RGVFC. They hid the Nature Valley sponsorship on the kit in plain sight with the bobbleheads that they gave out at the end of last season. It was right there for everybody to see, and nobody even thought or suspected that was going to be our new primary sponsor. So, good job, RGV. That was just fun.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that I would have liked to see as well is RGVFC have 3 main sponsors. Now, I don't know if you caught it on the bobblehead as well when we first got it, but on Mr. Toros, I think it's his right side lower is the HEB logo. And if you think about that, that's obviously nowhere to be seen on a jersey. I don't know how main of a sponsor HEB will be this year, considering it is HEB Park. I don't know how much BBVA does in Houston as well, like that. So, of course, just something to really think of.
So, going on to the next question, Jacob.
And, of course, you have the next question. So, now getting into game talk for Friday, and this is always a fun topic. What can we expect from the Tacoma Defiance, the game against the Tacoma Defiance?
I would say you can expect a badass crest from them, but they were really bad last year. They're probably going to be really bad again this year. I probably have them, if not bottom of the table, second bottom. So this is a good opening match for the Toros because this is where you can show you're a different team from last year that got draws in these matches. You need to get a win. So I think the weather is obviously going to be playing in the favor of Tacoma, as we've on social media with the players and everyone there. Not too pleasant. It's like my native Ohio weather, but I think a win. I'll go on the record and say 2-1.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
2-1 Toros?
Good one for sure.
Yeah, give me 2-1 Toros, and I'll say 1 goal from Small and 1 goal from Foster.
Oh. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I think something like that because, like he mentioned, the weather. One thing that I did look up for Tacoma and Seattle because I've been told that it might be played in Seattle and it's probably going to be played in Seattle and it might be played in Tacoma. I really don't know necessarily, but from what I looked up is that on each of those places, 20% chance of precipitation. And for Tacoma, I believe it might be around place where obviously rain can freeze, aka making it snow. So we could see snowfall and we could see some ugly weather, which would just be total rain. Either way, that's not that fun for any player to really play. Well, I take that back. If you're playing in it, it's okay. It's not as bad as anyone would really think. But if, of course, you're watching it, it's going to be miserable. So for that, yes, it will play into the hands of Tacoma, but I do see something like a 2-1 win for the Toros. Of course, giving up that early goal and then or not even giving up an early goal, giving up a late goal in, let's say, one of the halves because they were too excited about scoring one goal. And then, of course, finishing off the game 2-1, and Nico Corti, of course, being one of the 3 stars. Yes, we can make 3 stars for a soccer game because, well, there probably will be.
I honestly think that the Toros will win 2-0, and it's going to be Malik Foster and I would say the other goal scorer is going to be Wilmer Jr. I just have a feeling it's going to be Wilmer Jr. So 2-0 for me. Carson, is there anybody on the Tacoma Defiance roster that kind of stands out for you?
Not really. One guy that actually I was really impressed with last year was Denso Ulissi. He's I want to say he's 19 or 20 now. He's a defender from Haiti, and last year was his kind of first main full season, and he led the team in, I'm not sure exactly the stats. It was like interceptions, duels won, crosses. He led in like 5 different categories as a defender, and it was one of the younger players. So I guess him, but other than that, not a lot of teams win when their best player is their left back.
Yeah, so yeah, you're right. With 78 interceptions, 144 duels won, and third most chances created with 20, and he was also named the 3rd best player in the 2018 USL 20 under 20. So you're right.
Yeah, I think he was like 2nd team all USL as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I mean, he's a pretty good prospect, but you can't, like you say, you can't just when your best player is a defensive minded team, you're not gonna do much. You might not get scored on a lot, but you're not gonna score a lot. So that's why. So I have a feeling that even with this kind of, I guess you can say, hazardous weather, I think that Toros will be leaving Tacoma, Seattle, whatever, with a win. Hold on. So, last question for you before we go ahead and let you go. We all know you live in the Las Vegas area, Carson, and you consistently talk about as well, not only about the Toros, but you also talk a little bit about Las Vegas Lights. What can you tell us about this new alliance between Eric Winalda and Las Vegas Lights? What have you seen from them so far?
So they are a completely new team. is the easiest way to put it. I don't think people are trying to correlate last season. Oh, well, they did this, so they need to correct this for this season. That you need to look at it almost as a team, because they brought back, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 players maybe, and none of them overly crucial except for Thomas Olsen will be the first choice keeper. But no, they look good. Obviously it's preseason, so take that with a grain of salt. But they have a couple guys, Alex Harley and Irvin Parra up top, who both did really well. They both scored multiple goals in the preseason against. They played Toronto, Colorado Rapids, and then Orange County, and they at least scored twice combined over those games each. But yeah, and they look good defensively as well, which last year was an absolute nightmare, especially on the counter attack. No, they look good, and to me, last year it was all gimmicks. Chalise was, as you told me even beforehand, Chalise, he was more show than he was anything else. With Wijnaldum, there's still gimmicks, obviously with the guaranteed win this weekend and all that. But we're actually a decent team, so we're confident. Like Eric Wijnaldum is very confident. He's playing pretty much. If you don't think we're that good, but they might, maybe they don't. So no, completely different team. It should be fun to watch for sure.
Please tell me they still have the llamas.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Shout out to Dottie and Dolly, the Zappos Llamas, but yeah, they're still there. They still got the Cash the Soccer Rocker mascot, who's technically not Elvis, but he's pretty much Elvis. They ride the Harley in every game, yeah. As far as shenanigans and stuff, it'll all still be there, but there'll actually be decent soccer to watch as well. It'll be a nice change of pace.
And they renovated Cashman Field, correct, to make it soccer-specific?
They're working on that. Technically, they couldn't fully take over until the 51s. The baseball team were gone, who are now the Aviators, but that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
So they're starting to make some tweaks. Obviously, small things, but you don't have to change the signage every match and stuff like that. The main thing they did, they turned the old outfield, center field to right field, into a community field. So they'll have, I guess soccer leagues there. They're in their season ticket holder match on Sunday against Orange County. Their fans could play there in the outfield, which is pretty cool. But no, it's a pretty good experience. I know people last year would come out to matches and have a good time and not have a good time watching the match. I think it'll be good this year. You'll have a good time at the match and a good time watching the match. When you go to a sporting event, that's kind of the main thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Las Vegas does in the Eric Wijnaldum era. I know even the community manager for Las Vegas was kind of putting the last dagger on Chalise right after Puebla announced that he was coming back, and even Chalise was all offended in social media, which I understand. But I mean, when you had the opportunity to show with your work that you deserve to be the coach and you didn't, you pretty much abandoned the team with all your shenanigans, then you don't really deserve respect, from anybody. Granted, if I ever see El Chalise, I would love to take a picture with him, but as far as his actual work, where it matters, he leaves a lot to be desired. So now we'll see what happens over there in Puebla with in Mexico. But Carson, before we let you go, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, you guys are doing great. Obviously, and I mentioned Ray earlier. I'd like to have him covering the Toros for the BGN written side of things. But no, it's gonna be a fun year. I think you have some exciting young players, and I think this team's gonna be decent. I hope the fans support them. It should be a fun season, though. Not only the Toros and for the Lights, but the USL Championship in general. I think it's gonna be really fun here.
So where can our audience find you at?
Dude, pretty much everywhere. On Twitter at Carson Merk, and then the other football podcast, other F-ball pod on Twitter. Like you said, we talk about soccer, whole nine, and then pretty much every article we posted on BGN, I have at least glanced over. So I have that, and then obviously the old steady DynamoTheory.com for the Bull and its Horns every Wednesday.
Which, like I said, does a magnificent job. So if you guys have not read his articles, be sure to do so. I always retweet him when he comes out. Plus, he has a special surprise after every Bull and its Horns article with his dog Eloise and her cute little puss.
Yeah, shout out to Eloise Sterling.
Yeah. And so guys, be sure to follow him everywhere he has just mentioned. Give him some love. You know, like I said, he is the reason why Down in the Valley was started as in the first place back in the days of the Peel, and he's continued to do a great job covering the Toros. So, you know, give him some love, follow him, share his work, and more importantly, read his stuff. It's really good quality, really good interviews with the players. You get to know them a little bit more personally. Kind of helps with, like we've talked before on the show, Jacob. You know, it helps with the connection between fans and players. So
and kind of to piggyback off that before I go, shout out to Ronnie, the Toros communications young lady. We'll say she's just a superstar down there because she does a great job as well, stepping in for the deserted Anwar. She does great. She is putting out great stuff for the club. Obviously, they're starting to ramp that up too. So shout out to her. Shout out to David Garcia. Did an article on him, the equipment manager. Shout out to Randy, the trainer. So shout out to all of them.
Of course, man. And you're like I said before, you're welcome anytime on the show. Just let me know, and I will make the thing. Get everything ready for that. So, are you planning on going down to RGV for a game this season?
Man, I'm gonna try to. I have some cities that are still on my bucket list as far as places I got to get to. Obviously, RGV is top of that list, though.
All right, man. So thank you for coming on tonight and talking more about the Toros. Really appreciate everything you do, and hope to have you back in the future. More than likely, it'll be in that week for the RGV versus Las Vegas.
You bet.
All right, man. Have a good night, and we'll keep communicating on social media, man.
Always, for sure.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye. All right, guys. So that was a really good conversation we had with Carson Merk. I hope you all enjoyed it. So, Jacob, let's go ahead and start with the first thing that we want to talk about, and that is last week's San Antonio versus RGVFC match. Like I kind of hinted a while ago. It never fails. It never fails. The commentators curse. You know, last week we talked about how the defense was doing so well and there was a lot of improvement. Next day, oh yeah, you get 4 goals scored on. I'm like, holy crap! Like that can't be happening. And so, what did you think about this result? 4-3 loss at San Antonio at 1 p.m. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, you kind of said it right there. It started at 1 p.m. No soccer game, at least for USL, unless, of course, you have a field trip, starts at 1 p.m. So that's a huge thing that obviously normally teams don't necessarily play at that time, especially given the fact that, yes, it's San Antonio is still South Texas, so you're going to get you're going to get a high temperature, basically.
Excuse me, did I just hear you say that San Antonio is part of South Texas?
It still technically is. Just like Austin is still technically part of South Texas. Yes.
I don't agree.
You do have to say that, but...
No.
Yes, like, I don't like to say it as much as you do, but when push comes to shove, fact is still true.
I don't know. Geographic wise, you're talking. You're about pretty much almost smack dab in the middle of the state. But oh well, that's just technicalities. But continue.
Well, you got the humidity. You've got everything. Yes, basically South Texas has to offer at 1 p.m. And so, of course, either way, that will still play a factor into. Well, Harry, real quick. He just said it. If it's in mid-Texas, if it's smack dab in the middle, then obviously it's Central Texas. So, of course, yeah, you're still going to get both those temperatures. But, yeah, and then, of course, you've got a team that just came off of a game from Saturday. So you're talking about rest on Sunday, practice back, obviously, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, probably maybe a bit of recovery that day. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, Thursday, you're kind of back to training a bit lightly because you don't really want to get hurt before you have to fly out on a Thursday. I take that back. Yeah, you're going to fly out on Thursday. So then get there to San Antonio probably Thursday night. You're going to rest and you're going to play. That's a normal soccer thing. But then, of course, you're getting ready for a game earlier before. Now, that's not to take away the fact that, yes, they did get scored 4 goals on. But they did score 3 goals back to San Antonio. That's something that, guess what, RGVFC hasn't seen. We haven't seen our offense really score that many. So that was a plus side to see that offense. Once again, it's still preseason, so you got to take those pluses and minuses a bit lighter than regular. Mm-hmm. That's nice that we saw RGVFC score goals. Of course, that defense is something to watch out for. I forget that lineup because, of course, it was a closed-door match. So you take those closed-door matches a bit differently. If I had to guess, Jerson did play a lot of subs during those times where, obviously, RGVFC got their goals basically scored on. So it's a bit different, but from what I'm basically hearing, besides the 4 goals, those 3 goals, that's golden. That's something that RGVFC, especially last year, didn't really see 3 goals being scored for the team.
Yeah, when it was pretty sporadic. And remember that last season there was a huge dry spell when Aldo Quintanilla wasn't at his best. Then came Carlos Small, and that pretty much activated once again our offensive capabilities. Harry says, I don't think there was a lot of subs. I think this was the dress rehearsal for both. I don't know. What I heard is that RGV actually put in a lot of subs in the second half or halfway through the second half. They did do a couple of subs. Yeah, SAFC I know because they did. I think they did actually announce in social media when they were doing substitutions. Yes, San Antonio did not make any substitutions until the 70s. But from what I heard from people that were there, RGV did do a lot of subs to continue to give some minutes to the rest of the trialists that are still there, and some of the subs that are still with the team. So all in all, I do think that there's a lot to learn with this match. I think that I'd rather have something like that happen in preseason, even though if it's against our huge rival. But it's in preseason. It's to learn more about yourself and about other teams and what do you think would be the direction that they might take come to when the season actually starts. So there's a lot to learn. They maybe realize that, hey, you know what? We're not as good as we think we are based on what happened against Austin Bold and against UTRGV and against the Houston Dynamo. I'd rather have that happen now. Fix it by when the season starts tomorrow against Tacoma than it happened in the middle of the season, especially if it's against San Antonio during the season. That's where it's gonna hurt.
Exactly, because that was an empty stadium as well, which I mean, that's San Antonio's choice, really. But Yeah, like you said, I'd rather that happen, especially that fans really can't mock the team for something that happens in the preseason. Everyone says no one cares about the preseason. Obviously, only the players and only, of course, the coach to get ready for that. Now, that's perfect because, well, yeah, now you figure out, okay, what's going to happen versus Tacoma. And I think there's something special that I really want to share for this game, Tacoma. I believe from yesterday, because I did see something from social media. I saw Kyle Adams post something, and he said that he was in, or that said that he was in Tacoma, Washington on Instagram. Now, there were at least Chuy Enriquez was in the Valley watching a basketball game last night. Now, does that mean that Chuy Enriquez did not make the trip? Maybe, because I also saw something from RGVFC saying they were in Tacoma. So this is very much a confusion that probably Chuy Enriquez will not be in Tacoma, Washington, or we will not see him on the lineup come tomorrow. Now, I have no idea if that's really considerably true, but that's what I did see off of Instagram.
Well, the team traveled yesterday early in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning. I mean, if you look at the itinerary that the RGVFC sends out to the media, they were left very early in the morning, and there was actually an Instagram story. I believe it was by the team's athletic trainer. I forgot her name. Carson mentioned her right now, but she posted on Instagram, that they were up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, like catching the team bus to take them to the airport. So if you saw Chuy Enriquez on his Instagram that he was at Bird Ogden Arena watching the RGV Vipers, then something's up. And I don't want to get into speculation, but I have a feeling that they're kind of not guarding him, but they're pretty much saving him for the home opener. I don't know what's going on with Chuy. I don't know any details about that, but I think whatever it is, they're saving him so that way he can be at 100% come the game against Fresno. I mean, we can't look into it. I still have a feeling that we have enough players that'll replace him well. I mean, we have Camilo Monroy, we have Malik Foster, Carlos Small, Wilmer Jr. So I think we'll be fine against Tacoma. I just hope that by the time the home opener happens, we can have Chuy Enriquez on the lineup.
Yeah, and that's probably what will happen because, just looking at his story once again, 23 hours ago he was live at Bert Ogden Arena. So, yes, he didn't travel with the team unless, of course, they left early this morning, but I don't believe that they did. So, I mean, it's fine. Just like you said, we do have enough players, especially for a road game, to even get a draw, which, once again, on the road, yes, you could probably get 3 points from Tacoma, but at the same exact time, you get that draw to start off the season on the road. That is beautiful. Considering, obviously, you get the 3 points when you're at home for your home opener. Boom, that's 4 points to start off the season, and honestly, that's pretty good, in my opinion.
And we've talked about this before, and I think it was with Sean. And it's like the best thing that could happen to you at home, obviously, is get to 3 points. When you're away, having to deal with travel, having to deal with time zone changes, jet lag, harsh weather conditions. If you're able to get a point on the road, that's good, and that's perfect. If you lose, okay, just don't lose too much, kind of thing. But I have a feeling I still think we'll be getting the win, but I will not be mad if the team just gets 1 point out of Tacoma. I mean, last season what we lost against Tacoma was like 4-3 or something like that. It was bad, and I think that was the match where Victor Garza got injured, or was it against Portland?
Probably the match when Victor Garza got injured. Oh, yes, that's right, because it was basically a Northwest swing. Yes, now I'm recalling that. Now, I didn't necessarily watch both those games because it was tough to watch them considering that, well, we lost. But if I had to pick, yeah, it was probably versus Seattle Sounders 2, a.k.a. now to Tacoma Defiance. But, yeah, I mean, he got injured basically in the Northwest versus a team like that, and it was tough to come back from, obviously. And those games, yeah, sure, they were terrible, but they didn't really make or break us considering it was early in the season.
Yeah, but it pretty much set the standard defensive wise of making dumb mistakes that would cost us points. But hopefully all of that has been alleviated now with them having a lot more experience. We have Robert Castellanos, Kyle Adams. I'm not sure if Connor Donovan is actually no. Connor Donovan didn't make the trip either. Mm-hmm. If I recall correctly. If I were to grab my phone right now, yeah, I recall seeing an Instagram post, and I'm pretty sure if there's somebody from RGV watching, or they're not happy, but I did see something about that they saw that Connor Donovan was still at HEB Park doing some exercises. So we'll probably see my suspected lineup for tomorrow. I would see obviously Nico Cordiango. I would have Sam Junqua as the right back. And then Robert Castellanos, Kyle Adams. I would have the. I don't think he's been signed yet though. The left back that played against the Bold.
Which one?
Can't say.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe can't say. We'll play.
See, here's the thing. Like, tomorrow's already the match, right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's already the match. Tomorrow, there should have been a deadline by the time the USL would accept the actual completed roster going into the season. And the latest signing was Robert Coronado.
Yeah.
And he's a midfielder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will say this. Well, as we obviously don't know the starting 11 for this match, Jerson has known since basically the beginning of this week. I don't know if he knew sooner or probably knew. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, knew at Tuesday, basically when Ray and I got to speak to Coach. And so, of course, yeah, he knows it, so he's got it set. But I think you're correct on that the last one was him that got signed, and I don't believe that any trialists have gotten signed for that.
You know who I think it's going to be? I think it's going to be Andrew Samuels. He has been signed, and he can play either as a midfielder or as a defender. And I think Andrew Samuels was the one that was playing right back against the Bold. So I'm not sure. And I know I saw Junqua. I saw him last Saturday at the Dynamo match. So kind of interested seeing how Sam Junqua is going to be handled between the Dynamo and RGV. In the midfield, obviously, I have a feeling that it's going to be Brandon Morales and Ramilio Hernandez. And then we'll have Malik Foster, Carlos Small, Wilmer Cabrera Jr., and Camilo Monroy.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be my starting 11 for tomorrow, based on what we have seen and heard from these last matches for RGVFC in preseason.
Yeah, I'd agree on that because, I mean, yeah, you kind of know this roster kind of better than I do, but for sure at goal we know this for sure. It will be Nico Cordy, given the fact that, well, he's just been the better one of the goalkeepers at the moment. Not Joe Willis will probably get his start soon because you can't just keep playing Nico Corti constantly, considering Open Cup will come out, and yes, of course, already Houston Dynamo will probably have that covered, but they'll probably want to take on Nico Corti just to let him watch from the bench or something like that. But yeah, Nico Corti for sure would be me. Then Robert Castellanos at midfield too, with maybe Brad Dunwell or something like that could be cool. And then of course, yeah, you got Cabrera Jr. at forward that will probably come on as a super sub if I had to guess, so not part of the starting 11. You probably have actually I don't know, but you've got a lot of special talent that they just let their talent do the talking when they're on pitch because they're really humble. And of course, yeah, you mix that in with probably a man that will, Chuy Enriquez, that will probably be there the following week with them. It will be pretty interesting. So, yeah, of course, you got Kyle Adams that will be a defender, and yeah, Harlow Small that will probably be our main striker for sure. And yeah, it's really what I would have to guess.
What's up, Johnny and Harry? So before I continue, just to remind you all, be sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and the tipping link is in the description. We don't have to tip anything, but we would greatly appreciate it. It would help us continue to bring you all this more content and better content for Down in the Valley in order to help us cover the Toros. So you know who might actually play as left back, and I think it might be a surprise, but I think it can happen. Victor Garza. He's played the position before, and when he did not look bad. I'm talking about this was under the coach Gonzalez era, and he looked good as a left back. So if push comes to shove and Sam Junqua isn't brought down here, and you need somebody as a left back, you got Victor Garza right there too. Guys in the chat, what do y'all think about this? What about this lineup? Who do you think will be the starter against Tacoma tomorrow? Now I do want to mention, because you mentioned about Open Cup, I have a feeling that I think they're just going to be training, if anything, with the team. I don't think they're necessarily going to be called up to be on the bench come game day. Because you talked about Nico Corti, right? And the Dynamo has, obviously, Super Joe Willis. You have Tyler Derrick. You have Michael Nelson. Don't forget about Michael Nelson. So Nico Corti technically is fourth in line. And Michael Nelson, from what we saw last year, is better than Nico Corti in the goalkeeper. But if push comes to shove, if Nico Corti is called up to the Dynamo and is not available for game day, I really trust Ben Willis. From what we've seen from him, I trust him. I think he'll be fine as a goal. I trust him more than Matt Sanchez.
I think everyone trusts him more than Matt Sanchez because, when Matt got to play last year, he was not impressive to at least my standards of goalkeeping because, we've been lucky to see Joe Willis, even the ex-FC Frisco and ex-Dynamo goalie, who is now, I forget with which team, but he played down here for at least a game or two because he wanted to get minutes and didn't get minutes up in Houston due to the fact that Joe Willis was just on a hot streak, which really, once again, you can't mess with a man on a hot streak because Joe Willis is always been on a different level. And then of course you add this whole thing with Tyler Derrick, who got to come down here as well. And we've just brilliant keepers in my eyes. And then of course you got Sanchez, and then, well, I take that back. Not Matt Sanchez. My bad.
Yeah, we don't
You
have him
Michael
anymore.
Nelson. There we go. Nelson.
Mhm.
And then Cordy, and then this guy who's on a totally different level and not on a good level compared to Cordy and and Nelson. There we go.
Well,
So yeah, you have these goalkeepers, and yeah, you probably said it true. They'll probably only train, and that's it.
Yeah, because unless the tragedy happens, al menos que pase la tragedia with the Houston Dynamo, which I'm scared that we're on the way once again to having that problem with death problem with the Houston Dynamo, you know, because they have Eric Bird gone, they have Tomas Martinez gone, they have who else? Juan David Cabezas gone. So I just hope that they don't have to deal with another injury-ridden season, and they'll have to pick from the farm per se down with RGV players. So. Actually had an interesting comment right now. Ricardo Coronado says left back will be Robert Coronado sooner than later. Be interesting to see how he plays. What can you tell us, Ricardo? What can you tell us about his play style? We didn't manage to see, like, against the Bold, we didn't really manage to kind of pinpoint him out exactly because obviously they had very tiny numbers in the back of the shirts. So I couldn't really tell who the new guys were, so I can kind of pay close attention to what they were. So he says, he's my nephew, so I can be biased. Smart soccer IQ, always makes smart play, great on the ball, a midfielder all of his life. Number 3. So I'm really looking forward, from what you're telling me, I'm really looking forward to having him on the field. We got in touch with him and kind of welcomed him to the team. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of him on the pitch. So if it's playing as a left back, has he played in that position before? If he has, then that'd be another interesting depth piece in that position. If we're still kind of in a doubt with what the depth is in the back, especially with Connor Donovan not being available. So what else did I want to talk about? So we talked about San Antonio. We're talking about possible lineups. What else can we talk about? What time is it? It's 8:08. Guys, let me know what you guys want to talk about in the chat. We're here we're kind of open, talking about the Toros. I mean, we already talked about the new kits and everything. Which, by the way, I have not heard any confirmation if they will be available for sale at the home opener. And if something arises that I'm made aware of, I will let you all know. So be on the lookout for that if you guys want to buy the jersey. So Jacob, you were there at Media Day. Mm-hmm. What was mentioned either by coach, by ownership, like what was mentioned about the team? What were their goals? Did they mention what their goals were for 2019?
Well, I mean, I do have to say one thing because obviously the COO, the head of everything, basically going to be president of Toros at the moment and obviously president of Vipers, Rene Borrego, he said this one thing. It's kind of a joke and it's serious at the same time. The pressure's not on the president, it's on coach to obviously make this team win. And so, I mean, that was one thing that really, caught my attention that he was kind of constantly bringing up because it's kind of true. But, the things that we heard from the marketing director, I guess, is the same things that kind of they brought up as well. The whole marketing thing, they'll have the kids zone during the game and all that, but really not much else to really say besides that we he knows the line. Coach knows the lineup, and really everything is set for a new and better year, basically.
Yeah, it just kind of sounds weird for him to emphasize that it's up to coach on the field, which makes sense. I mean, he's the one that's directly in charge of what happens on the field, but they also have to consider that they are in charge of everything that happens off the field, and if for some reason their marketing does not work or whatever, then somebody has to be accountable for that. And so hopefully we can see that we can see some sort of accountability when it comes to, and I know it's a big one. There's still a lot of discussion about being able to actually bring in the fans over to the stadium. So we'll see what happens in the season opener. Hopefully we can get better than 4,000, which obviously it's going to be less because the announced attendance numbers it's always going to be tickets bought, not actual tickets scanned. So I just hope we can get some better numbers for the season opener. We're trying our best to make sure people kind of get hyped up about it. One of the biggest concerns for me about that media day /jersey reveal is, were there any season ticket members present?
Yeah, it was all media. I didn't really see a fan. Maybe there was at least one fan there, but mainly Ray told me about him, and he was basically there for media reasons once again. So, yeah, no real fans, because also it was at an awkward time as well. You have to get it. It was still during work hours, and 4 to 6, from 4 to 6. Yes, people would have obviously questioned it if it was a bit later, but it would have made more sense due to the fact that, well, if it's more later, well, guess what? You would have probably had the Stampede there. They would have probably come if it was after work hours. So, yeah. Of course, since it was 4 to basically 6 p.m., which really at 4:30 is when they really just started the press conferences, or the press conference, people are still at work. So it's tough to get season ticket holders there since it was at that time. That's more of what I saw. But the good news is we did have media coverage from Channel 4 to
Televisa,
Telemundo, a.k.a. I guess our miniature rivals in a way.
You don't say that. don't say that.
I'm just playing. Obviously, we love every media. We want every media to cover games
consistently. Consistently is the key word.
Consistently. That means throughout the season. When the Viper season ends, man, they better cover the Toros as much as they cover the Vipers there. Of course, that's what we want to see. But of course, that probably won't happen. Hopefully, times are changing. Prove me wrong, media. Prove me wrong that you're going to stay. The good thing is really that I see, since I saw Channel 4 there, I think they're going to be a lot like, or the man who really covers the sports is going to be a lot like Clay, when Clay was there.
Yeah.
And because if you do recall from basically the inaugural season, Clay was at almost every game.
Mm-hmm.
He did cover a lot of. So if it's something like that, hopefully that will be much better.
Yeah, I think it's a good indicator that maybe the media is going to take this team a little bit more seriously. I mean, it's at the end, it's all about the ratings. The Houston Dynamo has the same issue with the regular mainstream media not covering this team. It's mostly, if you take a look at the media press box, it is mostly, obviously you have Houston Chronicle, but the ones who are there week in and week out for the most part, are the freelance journalists. Whether it's Pro Soccer USA, the Bayou Cityan with Jesus Acevedo Jr., who, by the way, big shout out to him, man. Congratulations on your new project. Laura Gomez with I think she's doing with Pro Soccer USA as well. Jorge Clara with Deporte Total USA, and everybody else. It's all mostly freelance journalists. So I just hope with the Toros, we can either get some more, we can either have some more freelancers go out there and cover the team, even if it's on their own dime. But it's like I told Laura, the more the merrier. I mean, the more people cover this team, the more the regular audience will take this team seriously. Because they'll see, hey, you know what? If they're taking their time to cover this team, week in, week out, and we learn more about this team, then they're gonna feel more connected to this team. They're gonna be more than willing to go out there week in and week out and going to the matches. I mean, our reach is only so big as an internet show, and so if they don't, you can say that the Valley is, obviously the young ones, they're more into podcasts, they're more into internet streams, but the main, pretty much the main dish, which is your 35-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, they listen to a lot, or they watch a lot of traditional TV, traditional media, radio, TV, whatever. And I think besides Telemundo, which is, I think Channel 5 as well covers them constantly in their nightly news. The more they go and get involved, the more they go into the post game interviews and get that all that material like straight and like actually see some dedication to this team. Like I said, people are gonna notice. People are going to be more informed about this team, and if that happens, I applaud that, and I'm sure Jacob would and Ray would as well, because that's what we want. We're trying to kickstart something at RGV to help this team get the coverage that I feel that it deserves. Mm-hmm. Because at the end, this is our team. This is the team that represents where you all live.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, one thing that I also did forget to mention too is they did create 2 commercials. Now, I don't believe both of them say any words, but it's basically, well, one is interesting to say so the least, but another is just of the players, doing some tricks with, a soccer ball. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty cool. I believe that they will air that locally, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And then another one is, well, you just have to watch it for yourself. Basically, it's just of the cheerleaders, but what they're trying to really get from this is, which is a really strange slogan considering that we are Toros, somos Toros. Very basic, very easy to really get the fans attached to it. They're saying put your orange on. That's a strange slogan.
I like it. I like it as a supplemental slogan. This is the movement that Mayra was talking about. The whole paint, kind of like the painted black movement when the Dynamo brought that black shirt with the V. That's what it is. It's a Píntate Naranja. Make the orange part of you. That's the movement that they're trying to get. I do not think that Píntate Naranja is going to replace We Are Toros, Somos Toros, which, by the way, like I mentioned before, I think it could be a little bit more. Our actual slogan can actually be a little bit more inclusive to the actual Valley, or kind of give it the Valley identity to it. But I don't think Píntate Naranja is going to replace We Are Toros, Somos Toros. I think that's here to stay. That's the official slogan. But Píntate Naranja is going to be this year's theme. I think that's what it is. It's the theme to the 2019 season. That's the marketing that Mayra was talking about, and we'll see how well that does. I know they've been pretty active the past couple of days, going out with the schools, with Mr. Toro, the Toros girls, and I believe they're going to be trying to have some players go out there in the community so that people get to know them. Now, the question here is, we need actual information going out saying when they're going to be there, and it needs to be with enough time in advance so that people can plan it. I don't want any more of this whole last-minute thing like with the jersey reveal. Be honest, that was last-minute stuff. It was at a bad time. It was last minute. You couldn't expect neither Stampede to go or season ticket members to go, because as far as I know, as I was told by the organization, it was going to be open for season ticket members. Mm-hmm. But we can't have these whole last minute things. Now I know I've been guilty of that with when it comes to the shows, and I'm right now I can say very sorry about that. And I'm trying as hard as I can to make things better for y'all in that aspect. But this is an organization that's what they're dedicated to. That's what they're working for. You can't have that. So that's one thing that still needs to be worked on. Like, we told Maida, we've been very vocal on social media. We really appreciate that these changes, are being made, and I love that. But there's still some little details that if you want it to really be effective, like it should in theory, and these little details need to be fixed. So we'll see how it chugs along the rest of the season in regards to that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that for sure. Yes, this was more last minute. It was odd to see that it was last minute as well. Yes, they did promise something for us, but then again, it's on a Tuesday, very inconvenient. You got to make it a bit later for this whole thing. But it's, of course, enough with that. That was basically kind of what I got from media days, as well as, of course, some pictures for you all of the jersey. But once again, like I said, one thing, it's not just going to be a plain black jersey for sure. You will see some light, dark, just dark lines across it, which will make it, I guess, kind of stand out more from just a kind of plain, almost practice-like jersey. I like it. I've always enjoyed Adidas fabric, so it should be good. They always make really strong jerseys. I mean, why am I still wearing a 2011 Houston Dynamo jersey if it's not working? Well, because it's working. It stayed together. The only thing that's really faded off is the side button that just says Adidas on it. Other than that, it's in perfect condition, so that's awesome. But
yeah, I'm a huge fan of Adidas as well. I think that most of the stuff that they bring out is really beautiful. Obviously, you do get some pretty much what the hell kind of moments, like with the Tigres third jersey. But for example, like this past kit with this Houston Dynamo kit, this energy kit, it's very beautiful in pictures and better in person. Yes, obviously you have this whole everybody gets a white T-shirt with MLS, but I mean it's really not their fault if that's what MLS is going to dictate. And Adidas is going to do what they deem is necessary with the idea that is brought in by the team, or in this case the league. So I'm trying to figure out. You mentioned that this uniform has lines going. Is it horizontal or vertical?
Oh, horizontal. They're very light, and I was barely able to really catch it. I think it was off the light, and that's when you'll really be able to see it if you catch it off the light. I think it only shines with that or something like that. But yeah, I mean, that's something that I saw for the black. I did not see anything special for, obviously, the orange jersey.
Because I'm trying to figure out what template they're using for that one. I know that it's a round It's a round collar. And I know the Tabela 18, which is the home kit, has some little like faint lines that are vertical on the body and on the sleeves. I wonder.
Oh yeah, they have the vertical sleeves, or for some white vertical lines across their sleeves as well. If that helps too.
Yeah.
You know the, I don't know. I guess regular Adidas kits that normally have those 3 lines, but I mean I kind of saw them going horizontal on that, so. I don't know, it might have been something that maybe my eyes tricked me on, but I was almost positive that I saw it at least on the front.
Because I honestly thought that it might, you know what? It might be, oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. This was, the black kit is probably a Condivo 18 jersey.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and put it. I'll go ahead and post it up right now, so that way you guys can see what Jacob is talking about, and you won't think that he's like crazy or something. No, I don't want that. .png, but this better work. There it is.
Yes. Yeah. That's kind of what I saw there.
So let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see what lines he's talking about. Is that what you saw?
I believe that's exactly what I saw, yes.
Yeah. So that is the template that the Toros are using for their away kit. Now, granted, it looks weird in combination with the blue shorts, honestly. I don't know what you think. I it's just weird. Like, I would have liked it better if it was all black.
Yeah, I see that, but guess what? I think one of our players would actually have a heat stroke if that was the case, considering that, yes, a couple of games would be, or at least one game would be in OKC, probably in the afternoon, and they'd be drenched in sweat, and it would just not be a good fit. I like the blue just because I guess I'm a bit weird like that. I like odd combinations sometimes because, well, you get to stand out for at least a game, and if you end up winning, well, you know, little Timmy, who do you all lose to? We lost to the team with a weird combination kit. So, I mean, it could sound good either way, too. So, it's something cool, I guess, like that. You try and, change something up. It's always nice to do that, and I don't know. It could be cool.
Yeah. So, I think, is there anything else that you guys would like for us to talk about? I think we pretty much covered everything that we can talk about that is available. Talk the kids. We talked about the match tomorrow, the match that happened last week. We had Carson on for an interview. I mean, unless you guys want us to talk about something else, I think that's everything for tonight. Jacob, you have anything else you want to talk about Toros wise, or maybe not even Toros wise?
Well, yeah, I guess one thing that I will say, and this might strike up another conversation, but I don't necessarily want it to, because I mean it might have something to do with a favorite team that someone in this room might have. But one thing is for certain, Houston, and this just is directed to Houston Dynamo. What? WTF1, basically, in a way. What kind of marketing are you running there? Because, yes, I understand there was a cold front, but you couldn't sell more than, I don't know, 2,000 tickets is what it seemed like. That was embarrassing. Not push away from the game. Just the crowd. What was that? I mean, you barely see any orange around that stadium. All you see is yellow and blue. Yellow, blue, and I guess white, too. That's embarrassing. You couldn't get. I mean, you had El Batallon, and each time we tried to start, or each time Houston tried to start a chant, what happened?
Tigres!
You got booed at your own
Tigres!
stadium. What is that? That's not okay in any circumstances, considering, yes, we understand you have a ton of fans that will root for, obviously, the Tigres and freaking Houston. But that doesn't give you the right to not even go to a freaking game. Or if the Tigres fans technically rooted, for Houston Dynamo, well, yeah, I understand that because it's probably your freaking childhood team. Yeah, that's okay, but at the same time, I'm sorry, you live in America, you live in Houston, Texas, root for your local team maybe once. Yes, I know it's tough. Once again, it's against your childhood team, but to say so the least, that was extremely embarrassing.
Pathetic.
I thought we had a lot more fans than that. That's sad.
It was, and I made the comments in social media like, what the hell is going on? Like, how embarrassing is it for front office? No, here's the real question: is front office really embarrassed about this? No. Are you really going to? Are you as fans? Are you as front office really going to let Tigres fans go out there, make a meme, and say that this is their house in the United States? Like, come on, that is blatant disrespect to Dynamo fans. And I'm a Tigres fan and I'm saying this. Like, come on. Like, why aren't you showing up? We have not been in CONCACAF Champions League in I don't know how many years. We're finally there. We're going up against the best of the best. And media doesn't cover any of this. The fans don't go out there. Come on. Like, literally, the Dynamo opened up Dynamo sections to sell them to Tigres fans because the Dynamo fans were not responding. Like, come on.
It's stupid. I mean, look at the Guastatoya match at home. I'm pretty sure there were a lot more regular
yes, there were
Guastatoya fans than Houston Dynamo fans. You had obviously, of course, Webb there, and then the Texian Army / El Batallon, which we all know was pretty much just El Batallon there. Mm-hmm. That's it, though. You had your regular fans, and that's it. Maybe a couple of casuals.
It was ridiculous, dude. It was like the Guastatoya fans were booing. Like, they were vocal. Their Si Se Puedes were very vocal. Like, it was sad. It was sad that even a Guatemalan team showed up more numbers than Dynamo fans. Like, seriously? Like, does nobody even care about the Dynamo outside of the ones that are there every week? Like, come on. Like, I understand, and we talked about it yesterday in Generation Orange, that it's hard for people to, especially the grown-ups, to leave the tradition of going for their favorite team that was their parents' favorite team, that was their grandparents' favorite team. But show some love to your local soccer. It's soccer either way. Like, you're not going to be less of a... No matter how much they make fun of you, because I did get a bunch of jokes about that. No matter how much they make fun of me, just because you support the Houston Dynamo does not make me less of a Tigres fan. Just because I still support Tigres does not make me less of a Dynamo fan. If you guys really saw what was going on with me in that match, I was completely broken. I don't care who won. I don't care that Tigres won. I was broken because the Dynamo had lost. Why? We need more people to we need the organization. And we talked about this about RGV, and I think it needs to be harder pressed for the Houston Dynamo. How long has the Dynamo been in existence? Since 2000, it was announced, 2005?
Yeah, it's announced 2005, our first championship 06, and our second championship 07.
So they've had years, almost 15 years of experience of being in Houston to understand what needs to be done to fill the stadium, and they haven't done that. At least with the Toros, it's barely their fourth year. It's growing pains, and in their 4th year. They're doing what's necessary to kind of alleviate the situation. But come on, after those 2 championships and then 11 and 12 when they lost against the finals, like really, like nothing, like you still see the BBVA Compass Stadium super empty. It took you how long to bring in John Walker, to bring in to have some changes when it comes to the game experiences? Come on.
Exactly. I mean, for crying out loud, you're talking about 06, 07, 08, and even 09 when they were at the Houston Cougar football field. They
Robertson.
Exactly, Robertson. They were almost selling out each game. Even on weeknights, there were decent crowds. I mean, we were the Atlanta United of the early days of MLS. We were having those types of crowds.
So what happened to all those fans is what I'm asking myself.
Well, also,
were they fair weather fans? Is that what I'm, because that's what I'm getting out of this. Because when the team was well, everybody showed up at Robertson. When the new stadium was unveiled, they had a lot of sellouts. But when things started going south, everybody abandoned the team, and now they're being reluctant to come back. Is that what's going on?
And something else happened too in this whole span of that time. I believe even back in the day, everyone was allowed to join this. Well, I about called it the Stampede, but they were allowed to join the Texian Army there. And then now, you try and join the Texian Army, they're like, you have a wristband? No, but we want to have fun and enjoy supporting our club.
But that's a BBVA Compass Stadium rule. That really has nothing to do with Texian Army.
Okay, so that's a BBVA Compass Stadium rule. Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with the Texian Army, but that has something to do with why, obviously, well, maybe some fans left too. But you're not allowing fans to even enjoy that too.
But it's not as hard as you're making it out to be. If you're at the tailgate with Texian Army or with El Batallón, and you purchase a ticket with them, security's going to go over and they're going to hand out the wristbands to everybody who's at either King's Court with El Batallón or at Lot C with Texian Army. That's how it goes. Maybe a lot of people don't know about that, but that's how it works. So it's not as hard. It's a matter of people taking the initiative and going and participating with Texian Army or El Batallón, or even as simple as doing your own chants and help leading the rest of the stadium, inviting your friends, inviting your family over to the stadium. But people aren't doing it because they don't see, for some reason, they don't see the fun of it. Or I don't know what the reason is. People have their reasons. Some are acceptable. Some are stupid. I mean, you have to admit, some are stupid reasons. Not that the people are stupid. Don't misquote me. That sometimes the reasons that they give for not going to stadiums are stupid. But I mean, okay, respectable. Don't agree with them, but oh well. But I'm sure the organization has to do something about that, and whether it's with marketing, drilling home the point that being a Dynamo fan does not make you less a fan of whatever other team you support. And I think that's what's lacking. I think that the Houston Dynamo needs to get out of their shell and go out there and demonstrate why they're Houston's team. Because right now, the way it's being marketed, they're Honduras' team, or they're Colombia's team, or whatever.
Exactly.
Which I understand. There's a lot of immigrants, Latin American immigrants in this country. But at the end of the day, we're all Houstonians, and that's the marketing that needs to be done. Which was good. I liked the for Houston Forever after Harvey. But why does it have to take a natural disaster like Harvey for the Houston Dynamo to make a marketing plan of that this team is Houston's? Because after Harvey, it was not like they stopped doing that marketing campaign of For Houston Forever. And that was a perfect one to drill home that this is Houston's team. Because at the end of the day, we might be Mexican, we might be American, we might be Irish American, African American, Colombian American. At the end of the day, we live in Houston. We're Houstonians, or we're from Texas. Because obviously there's Houston Dynamo fans outside of Houston. Just take a look at Jacob. I was a huge Houston Dynamo fan as well when I still lived in the Valley, and I would make my time to go out there because I loved them. But a lot of people don't feel connected with the Dynamo, and that's the reason and because they do feel connected with their Tigres, with their America, with their Olimpia, or whatever, or you name it. They don't feel a connection with the Dynamo, but they do with them. That's why in these cases in CONCACAF Champions League, when their favorite team comes in, they're going to go support their team. They're not going to support the Dynamo because there's no connection between fan and team. And that's what needs to happen. That's what people need to understand. You have to drill down a connection with the city that you live in and with the people that live in it. And until you do that, you're going to continue to see the showings like what happened against Tigres, which is embarrassing. Yeah. It's embarrassing that you don't defend your own home.
Exactly.
And I don't mean about, oh, I'm going to fight every Tigres fan that I see. No. And it's not about, oh, he said something to me, I'm going to go beat him up. No. That is not how you defend your team. And I know I'm not sure you know this, Jacob. But there was a fight after the match. There was a fight between El Batallon and a couple of Tigres fans. They were not from the supporters group. They were not from Libres y Locos. They were regular fans. Apparently, this is what I've been told from people from Mizraim, who was there, because I was at the mixed zone area when that happened. But Mizraim that was there, my fellow co-host of Mente Futbolera, and Cisco. Apparently, these Tigres fans were making fun of of El Batallon. They were blocking. They weren't letting them, do their normal procession after the match, and things got heated. And then they started pretty much beating up the Tigres fan. Like, obviously, that is not acceptable by the Tigres fans. You won. Be a good winner. Don't gloat. You're in rival territory, and you're gonna go up to the supporters group and start making fun of them. That is ridiculous. That is sad, and that is something that needs to be eradicated from soccer. But that does not give you the right to gang up on somebody.
Yeah, that makes me want to score 3 straight goals on them. Maybe tonight in FIFA or something stupid like that. Because, that's ridiculous. Yes, it's the fans. But, yeah. And, it doesn't help when, obviously, one fan side is probably going to be drunk because, or maybe tipsy, or feeling a bit worse due to the fact that they lost. Yes, you feel worse, and sometimes, of course, some people love to, or not love to, but sometimes they'll have a couple more beers due to the fact, we're feeling sad. Why not have a couple more?
But this isn't.
And so, of course, then alcohol plays into the factor. Just get out of a person's way. When you're feeling down, don't beat them up when they're feeling down. It's just common sense. Yes, of course. Common decency. Common decency, exactly. It's not nice, obviously, for El Batallon to decide, let's freaking beat up Tigres fans that are being mean. But at the same time, doesn't give Tigres fans the right to do exactly what they did. Mm-hmm. It's stupid.
And I'm not painting it. Yeah. And I'm not painting El Batallon with the same brush just because of a couple of people, because I know a lot of people from El Batallon, and they're pretty chill. And I've seen stuff from El Batallon where they're trying to avoid these kind of situations. But I'm gonna be honest, Because of the actions of a few, everybody gets painted the same way. I posted in Dynamo Discord. The day after I was listening to the radio station from Monterrey that I used to listen to. They talk about soccer 24/7. They were talking about that it was the El Batallón that was at fault, that they were the ones that started it. That is not true. That is not true either. But it's something that sadly had happened before. I was a witness of that last season. The game at Frisco between FC Frisco and Houston Dynamo.
Oh gosh, that one.
During half,
I know which one you're talking about.
So during halftime, I go over to where Josh and his wife were, which was pretty much they had traveled with Texan Army / El Batallón. They were sitting near, so they went to go, have a smoke or something. El Batallón members were nearby. Where the smoking area is, right next to it is a concession stand, and where people were lined up in the concession, and one Frisco fan was just trash talking constantly El Batallón, like people told him to be quiet, and he just kept at it. And there was this one person drunk off his mind, like drunk as a skunk, like he was he really was about to go out there, run, and try to jump him, and he actually did. As I was walking over, and he started running towards him, and my first instinct was, I put my hand on. I was like, dude, don't do it. Like, and then other Batallón leaders came over, they were trying to calm him down, and like, dude, don't get yourself involved in something you're gonna regret. And I mean, they had El Batallón. They were looking for any little detail to ban them from the stadium, which in fact they actually did right after.
Yep, but same year.
No, that same
something
game.
Totally different.
No, okay. So what happened is, when the Dynamos, and it was the last match between Frisco and Dynamo. But what happened was, when the Dynamo scored a goal, somebody which were not a part of really a Batallón, it was a family, but somebody threw a cup up in the air in celebration, and security just right away went over there to the family and told them to get out. Like, they kicked them out of the stadium.
Okay.
Because they were sitting in the same section as El Batallón. So they were kicked out of the stadium, and in protest, the rest of El Batallón left with them. Because it was an injustice. I mean, come on. Like I said, they were looking for security was looking at any little thing that they could find El Batallón doing wrong to kick him out. I mean, they had already banned streamers and instruments and whatever.
Oh wow, that was past that year.
Yeah.
Because I thought that you were talking about that incident where apparently someone in the parking lot lit a
smoke bomb,
and then they told them to instantly shut it off, which they did, still getting banned after that. No,
this was okay. So what you're mentioning is 2017. I remember because I wrote an article about it, and I was still in the Valley because it was still Carga Naranja at the time. But I'm talking about, this was last season in 2018. I made the trip over to Frisco. It was the last Texas Derby of the 2018 season.
Oh gosh, that game where we lost 4-1.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So I think by halftime we were already winning, like we're already losing like 2-0 or something like that. I don't remember. So that's why they were trash talking. But the point is, it's like, if you're gonna be going, if you're in a supporters group, like, please do not react with violence, no matter how much they trash talk you. Like, it just makes you look bad, and it's gonna make if you want to or not, it's gonna make the rest of the fan base look bad. Mm-hmm. So I'm also not saying, oh, let them do whatever they want to you. Yeah. But there's people out there that are specifically there for a reason, and they need to do their job. And I'm talking about security. Mm-hmm. And if security's not doing their job, then that's a stadium issue, and which should be addressed. And that's exactly what happened on Tuesday. This was a security issue. Security didn't do their job. They didn't want to get involved. That's what happens. You get fights happen, and what happens? Everybody gets the fan base gets painted negatively by everybody else. This was an international match, for Christ's sake.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough thing to really obviously cover and say who's at fault, but considering that it was like, here's what you're supposed to do. And I remember this really, well, is, supporter groups, obviously it wasn't just necessarily supporter groups, like you said, it was fans that happened. But at the same exact time, when you kind of know that, well, yeah, security's supposed to do their job, especially for away supporters. And it's even very simple to kind of do that, especially given the fact that you, especially as an organization, say that, for example, like they did this year, El Batallón, well, you're a part of the Houston Dynamo family or something like that. They said, basically,
you're the
we are
representative.
affiliated with you. Yeah. Then let them do their thing after a game, even if they lost, and kind of hold back traffic, whether it would be regular Houston Dynamo fans, or if regular Houston Dynamo fans want to get involved in that, kind of let them, because I've done it before and it's fun. But of course that was after a win.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got to be careful of things like that, especially given the fact that you're going to know that Tigres fans are going to be happy as well, whether it be casual fans or whatever. And, yeah, exactly. Like I said before, alcohol can play into effect. They're going to be happy. They're going to be drinking. It's basically...
People are going to do stupid stuff.
Yes, exactly. They're going to want to do stupid stuff. You still have your Hispanic heritage, and, of course... Oh, we all know that, well, we like to party, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So when we win, we like to get excited. We like to get, And, stupid stuff's going to happen. That's why you need, even extra security could have fixed that instantly, too. I mean, it's still an international match, no matter who's going to the game or not. Which, once again, it's a shame that not more Houston Dynamo fans were there in general. But, yeah, it's still shameful, which is why I can give shout-out to Portland Timber Security, because for away fans, oh my gosh, they are spectacular. If you're an away fan for any team, yes, it might be just MLS policy, but at the same time, it might actually be their stadium policy. Well, visiting team fans have to sit with visiting team fans, and if obviously you win, you're going to get held there. And if you do something stupid, which, let's say, I'm not going to name any names, San Jose, which I heard this story from it. San Jose, they're the worst in general for away fans. And this is just in MLS. One lady obviously went to go get beers, came back, and went through some Portland fans and, quote-unquote, accidentally tripped. No one stuck their foot out or anything dumb like that. It was all her. Obviously spilled the beer on a Portland Timber fan. That security right there from Portland knocked her out of the stadium. Well, actually, no. That's right. Yeah, they kicked her out of the stadium instantly. Whether it was Portland or Seattle, or not Seattle, excuse me, San Jose security, because they have to bring their own security as well with them. Kicked them out of the stadium.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I heard it from the Portland Timber visiting team director.
And you know
so, yeah, there's stories like that. It's
and you know what's
simple. Bring extra security.
And you know what's funny about all of this? Beer is not cheap at the stadium. No. You're wasting that money to just go and accidentally trip and spill it over somebody else who's just there trying to enjoy a game? Like, that's low, dude. Like, come on.
Super low.
But all right, I think we're pretty much beating a dead horse here with supporters in attendance. This season is going to be do or die for the Dynamo as well for the Toros. So I honestly, if you want me to be honest, I have more faith in the Toros front office than in Dynamo front office.
Yeah, at the moment, we need to see some change happen, like we did for RGVFC. Why we're getting all this stuff is because it was a total flush. And we flushed the bad and we got the good. Basically, we're seeing the owner of, well, who was really more the owner of the Vipers, now really taking effect into the Toros, which is something that I didn't think that I'd really ever see, considering we had Bert Garcia, who also really cared about the Vipers. And so you had two people basically caring about the Vipers and more about them. And now you see this total flush out where Bert Garcia leaves, and then everyone else obviously either gets let go or leaves behind him. And then now we see the COO, the top of the top, actually caring about this team. Mm-hmm. What? What is this? We never get lucky like that. And so now it's kind of good. So I think we need something like that for the front office of Houston Dynamo. That might be a long time coming. I bet you even Sean has something to say about that, but it's so true. We need something like that to happen.
And we talked about it a little bit yesterday in Generation Orange. If you guys haven't watched it, be sure to watch it. It's on our video list for Down in the Valley's YouTube channel. But I have a feeling this is a cultural issue, and not cultural as in like Hispanic. No, this is a corporate culture issue. This has been embedded due to so many years, like we said, of crap being in this feeding the circle of suck, like Jay Adelberg says, that it's going to take a lot of effort by John Walker, by Matt Jordan, by see, I don't even trust Gable Brenner, but you get the point. But the fans also need to do their part. Yeah. So this isn't a one-sided thing where the whole change has to be done by the organization. No, fans have to do their part as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and one more thing. I mean, it didn't help that the team across the street got good as well. Because remember, they weren't that good for about 3 to 4 years. That's also where you saw a really good turnout for Houston Dynamo, too. Is when the Houston Astros were not good in any means. So, of course, marketing was different at that time,
and the Rockets.
too.
And the Rockets.
Yeah, the Rockets were good, too, yeah.
And Texans, too.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't have a James Harden. You didn't have, well, I mean, you still had a Ryan Ludwig, if I'm not mistaken, or I'm saying a different player for MLB, but whatever. You didn't have those main stars for those teams, but you did have Brad Davis. You did have
Brian Ching.
Exactly.
Dayro.
Both those both. 3 of those players played for, or well, really 2 of those players played for the United States men's national team. So you could lure that group, obviously, and it really helped. And just, obviously, you got the business booming. And, of course, now you've got to compete. You actually have to compete with other teams. Now, it does help that technically Reliant Stadium, NRG Stadium, whatever you really want to call that, is far away from Minute Maid Park and BBVA Compass, but at the same exact time, be smart and do your job and to try and lure people in. And of course, then you've got to get those people in seats. What gets butts in seats? Media attention and wins. And of course, we'll probably see that happen once the Tigres hit the nail in the coffin this Wednesday. I'm sorry, Houston, you haven't proven anything to me. Oh, it is Tuesday?
Yes. CONCACAF, the official CONCACAF.
Oh, no, because, no.
No, it's Tuesday. It was a mistake by Tigres' fault. It was Tigres' mistake in their communications.
Okay, so then Tuesday, yeah, when they hit the nail in the coffin on Tuesday. So, I think we'll see some more wins. Yes, we still have to sit there this Saturday at least and watch one more player that was suspended because of idiocracy late in the game. Yeah, that's on the player. That's not on the ref giving out that yellow card late in the game. No, it's on him for being reckless. So.
Oh, you mean Matias Vera?
Yeah, exactly. That's stupid. You can't be that reckless in general. We saw it last year with Flynn Mayor. All last year with Flynn Mayor. You cannot be an idiot like Flynn Mayor and get those red cards there. And so yeah. But once we see that, I think we'll see a lot better.
All right, guys. I think we pretty much hit the nail on the coffin for this show. Thank you all for joining us in these 2 hours. Really appreciate y'all's support. If you guys haven't liked this video, be sure to give it a like. And be on the lookout for our podcast. I still have to do last week's podcast, which I'll do today, and I'll also upload today's podcast as well. So if you guys missed anything from the show, be sure to check out the podcast on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes. And be sure to also check out the Beautiful Game Network's website, the BGN.FM, and follow them on Twitter, the BGNFM. There's also one thing before I let you all go. There is a movement that started with Generation Orange, and I would like to implement with down in the Valley as well, because I think, like I said before, the fans also need to do their job if we want to make things better for the organization with attendance and everything you want. So we want to start being a part of as well of the hashtag do our part, because like we mentioned before, to get out of that circle of suck, it's not just the organization, it's not just the team and the coach, it's us as fans as well. And it's time we also do our part in order to make the Toros a great team for the Rio Grande Valley. So we'll be part of that movement as well. We will be not only redoing hashtag down in the Valley, we're also doing hashtag do our part. Anytime you guys tweet about the Toros, I urge you all to use that hashtag do our part, and along with hashtag we are Toros or whatever you guys like to do. But I would like for this movement to gain some steam within other fans of RGV. Hopefully we can make an impact and make HEB Park a vibrant place and a dreadful place for the opposing team. So thank you all for your support. We will. Oh, actually. Be on the lookout for in our social media the next couple of days. Because I really, I'm just gonna say it right now, I really want to do a live show next Saturday at HEB Park for the home opener. But I need, but as soon as I get the okay from the organization, I will make it official. And if that happens, there will be no show during the week. Our regular show will be on Saturday live from HEB Park. But be sure to follow us on our Twitter at Down in the RGV for English, at DITV Podcast _ES for Spanish. Follow us on Instagram as well, Down in the RGV, Facebook.com/Down in the RGV. Be on the lookout for the news. Once we receive confirmation, we will let you know if we'll be doing a live broadcast live from HEB Park at the home opener against Fresno FC. I will get with the details with you later, but I do want to. The last time we did it up in the press box. This time I want to go back and doing it at the ground level. If you guys see us at the stadium, be sure to come by and say hi to us. We would like to chat with y'all live on the show in person to talk about what you think about the Toros, what you think about everything. We want to hear y'all's voice as well. This is your show as well. So go if you see us, go out there and say hi to us. We're more than welcome to give y'all a shout out, and like I said, converse with you all about the Toros. We're all one big Toros family, and it's time we did our part and we started acting like united as Toros fans. So I'll let you know when we get confirmation. Thank you all. Have a good weekend, and remember, hashtag we are Toros, hashtag somos Toros, hashtag do our part. Have a good night, guys, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Take care.
They'll know how we do it. They'll never get it anyway. Conquering the impossible. All with a smile.